me this evening to talk to your audience and the electorate in general. Can everybody hear me loud and clear? Hello, can everybody hear me loud and clear? Okay, cool. Okay, thank you so much for this golden opportunity. Barrister Olumide Osaibovu Akpata is a son of the soil and a illustrious son of Edo who was born. Please give me a minute. Let me just mute my WhatsApp so I don't get any disturbance. Okay, that is done. He's an illustrious son of Edo who was the former president of the Nigeria Bar Association. When he was the president of Nigeria Bar Association, he met the treasury of the association in negative. Within 2 years as the president of the association, he left the office with a budget credit of 1.5 billion naira. That is, he left 1.5 billion naira in the office for the next administration to continue. Barrister Olumide Osaibovu Akpata is somebody that we believe is God sent to rescue Edo State from the quagmire that APC and PDP have put Edo State for the past 25 years of failed leadership in Edo. As you know, since the return of democracy in 1999, Edo State has been governed by either APC or PDP. Currently, Edo State has over or nearly 600 billion naira in debt. On the other hand, when you come to Edo State, there's nothing to show on ground. We have dilapidated roads. We have our secondary schools have been completely abandoned. There are no functioning healthcare in the state. Insecurity is everywhere. Our people in Orion 1 or via Southwest or via Northeast or Wande, even here in Bobaka local government, can no longer comfortably go to farm. In that, we see the high cost of food here in Edo. When you go to Delta State, food are even far cheaper in Delta State, especially rice, compared to Edo State. It's like Edo State has no central government. Let me come back to the issue of roads. Edo State have become an island in Nigeria. When you're traveling from Benin to Lagos, we have problems. You cannot get into Edo State freely. When you're coming from Delta State, when you get to Ologbo, it's a problem. When you're coming from Aunchi Road, it's the same problem. When you're coming from Agbo Road, it's the same problem. So the state has to become an island in the country, and it's not supposed to be like that. It is the failure of both APC and PDP for the past 25 years that have made Edo State to become an island in Nigeria. Barrister Olumide Osaibovu Akpata has a comprehensive plan. He has released a manifesto that will address all these many issues that both APC and PDP lack of leadership has caused in Edo State. He has proposed and promised continuous maintenance of road. In his own word, he said, so long that Papa and Mama and Pikin is involved, which is the party slogan or motto of the Labour Party, Papa, Mama, Pikin. He said, so long the road or roads in Edo State are being used by Papa, Mama, and Pikin, he would fix it. Under his continuous maintenance of road, what it means is that whenever there is a little pothole on the road, when the road is just beginning to wear away, that is when he would dispatch his Ministry of Infrastructure or Ministry of Wars. I don't know what it's called in Edo State. Sorry if I'm using ministry. Probably Commissioner of Works or Commissioner of Infrastructure. That is when people in that agency who is responsible for the maintenance of roads, that is when they're supposed to go there and patch it up and maintain it. So that is what he is proposing, that under his administration, there would not be signposts on the road as we are currently seeing in some areas in Edo State, like Saple Road, like Agbo Road and Aunchi Road, where Governor Obaseki puts signboards on the road, which reads, "Please bear with us. This is a federal road." Under Barrister Olumide Osaigbova Akpata, we will not be seeing signposts on the road, regardless of who is responsible for the road, being it local, being it state, or being it federal. Like Osabobo has promised, so long the road is being used by Papa, Mama, Pikin, his administration will go ahead and fix the road. So under his manifesto, he's also promised to have primary healthcare centers across the 192 wards here in Edo State. What this means is that every ward in Edo State would have a functioning healthcare in their locality. That is, I am from Ward 5 in Ikpoba local government. We will have our own primary healthcare. That means when an individual is ill in the Ikpoba local government, he or she can take treatment in the local functioning healthcare center. When we are talking about local healthcare center, this time is not an healthcare center that will just open maybe around 9 o'clock and close around 5 p.m. No, this is going to be 24 hours healthcare center. He has also promised continuous training of nurses and doctors that will be administering medical care to local individuals in these 192 wards. But Olumide Osaigbova Akpata has also promised to renovate the dilapidated school buildings across the state. Not just renovate alone, he wants to revamp the educational sector. Currently in Edo, or the nation at large, we have an educational system that has completely failed. There are many graduates here in Nigeria who cannot read and write, who cannot do a simple research. But Olumide Osaigbova Akpata is promising education with knowledge, whereby our children can go to school, come out, and be able to demonstrate what he or she may have been taught in school. What we have today are just a group of individuals who go to schools, come out, and they cannot, proficiently and coherently demonstrate what they may have been taught in school. So under Barrister Olumide Osaigbova Akpata, we are going to have a conducive environment for learning, and all the prerequisite equipment needed for teachers and professors to transmit knowledge to scholars would also be provided. In addition to that, Barrister Olumide Osaigbova Akpata has promised to provide welfare for the vulnerable populations in the society. What does this mean? This means that vulnerable population like people with disability, our senior citizens, our old mama and our old papa, etc., government's supposed to be giving them monthly stipend to take care of themselves, because these individuals cannot function as able-bodied in the society. It is the responsibility of the government, as it is in the Western world, for government to provide social welfare for the vulnerable population in the society. So Barrister Olumide Osaigbova Akpata is also promising that it does not end there. It's also promising to reduce the high cost of food in Edo State. How is he going to do this? He's promising to give free interest loan to farmers, also providing them fertilizers and machineries to farm. So when these things are being supplied to farmers, they will farm, there will be surplusity of food. Once food is surplus in the society, then what? The commodity, the price will gradually go down. The reason why we have high inflation in food at the moment is because our farmers, because we don't have a lot of food in the system, and our farmers, like I said earlier on in Wonder, Oriomo, and the rest of them, are afraid to farm. We have open grazing in the system where these cattle rearers do invade people's farm and destroy people's crops. So Barrister Olumide Osagbovo Akpata is also promising to fight insecurity by using judiciously the security vote to fight insecurity in the system by completely fighting the Fulani herdsmen with all the legal means necessary in the system and using the funds of the security votes to fight insecurity in the system. He also promised that he is going to tap the large gas reserve in Oriomo and other local governments in Edo State, promising 24 hours electricity, because there is no way we can fight insecurity without 24 hours electricity. That will not work. So in addition to using the laws already in the book and also enacting more laws, it would make sure that there will be 24 hours electricity in Benin City by tapping on the gas reserves in Oriomo. So these are many other beautiful programs in the pipeline. In addition, there is one that I am missing. He is also promising transparency and accountability in governance. For instance, today in Edo, we don't know how much the current administration is borrowing to pay salaries, but the central bank has released a few months ago that Edo State is one of the few states in Nigeria borrowing to pay salaries. And we also do not know explicitly how much Edo State is owing, but we do know that it's approaching or a little bit over 600 billion naira in deficit. So under Barrister Olumide Osagbovo Akpata, there will be transparency and accountability in the system, where every citizen of Edo State would know what the state is owing, if the state is going to borrow, why the state is going to borrow, why the state is borrowing the money, and what the state is going to use the borrowed money for. So there will be transparency, there will be accountability, and all that. Then, so the topic of today is the chances of Barrister Olumide Akpata Osagbovo winning the election. Yes, the chances the chances are there. To me, if you ask me, and I would say as of today, we are 85% sure that the next governor of Edo State is going to be Barrister Olumide Osagbovo Akpata of the Labour Party. How am I so confident about this? We have the APC-led government who have impoverished the people. A lot of people are hungry. They can no longer feed. For instance, pure water is now being bought 15 naira a sachet. The gasoline, I just filled up my tank yesterday here with 91,000 naira. When I was preparing campaign budget for Barrister Olumide Osagbovo Akpata, I used 48,000 naira a week as gasoline to fuel my campaign vehicle. That was just 3 months ago. Today, the inflation rate has increased 100%. Imagine a campaign budget approved for 48,000 naira for gasoline in for 1 week is now 91,000 naira. So people are suffering. The APC people has impoverished our people. Our people are not happy with the APC. Additionally to that, APC has brought out a candidate. I don't even know where to start in describing this candidate. As for me, I agree with PDP on this one, that anybody can be the governor of Edo State. Even Tom, Dick, and Harry can be the governor of Edo State. Tuesday can be a governor of Edo State. Wednesday can be a governor of Edo State. Thursday could be a governor of Edo State. Friday could be a governor of Edo State. Saturday could be a governor of Edo State. Sunday can be a governor of Edo State, but definitely not Monday. Because we have Monday, Okpebolo, an individual who cannot express himself in early language, is an individual who is not ready. Few days ago on BBC, on Pidgin BBC, the guy said he has a plan to fix the the power problem in Edo. What plan does he has? He said, "Oh, I will buy transformers and fix electric poles, then the problem is solved." Are you kidding me? That is an individual who is not ready. He doesn't know how to fix any problem. He cannot articulate himself. And he is a product of Godfather. We don't want third term of Governor Adams Oshobole. So that is why Edo people is rejecting the candidacy of APC. Now let's talk about Aswell Igodalo of the PDP. That one is carrying the baggage of Governor Obaseki. Obaseki, as you also know, has engaged in destroying people's houses without court order, without due process. He has become a tyrant in the land. Governor Obaseki is fond of doing substandard road. And please, every economic decision of Governor Obaseki, there is no way Aswell Igodalo could excuse himself from all the economic decisions taken so far by Godwin Obaseki. He is the chief economic advisor. So he has been the one advising Godwin Obaseki to destroy people's houses, to become the biggest land grabber in the state. When you go to Oriomo, most of the farmland in Oriomo have been taken over by the state. When you go to Ovia Southwest, Ovia Northeast, practically everywhere where there is land, Governor Obaseki and his cronies have taken over the land, and the people do no longer have land to farm. In addition to Governor Obaseki's atrocities and the economic advice being given to him by Dr. Aswell Igodalo, is the substandard roads. There are roads constructed in Edo with just one rain. The following morning, the roads are no longer there. A strike example is the one Amadi Street off St. Saviour Road. The road was renovated by Godwin Obaseki. The people of Amadi Street, the video is up there on YouTube. The people of Amadi Street said it was like a magic that one rain, they woke up the following morning, the road was no longer there. Another road, go to Eghaghe, where it is now called Eghaghe River. Eghaghe River has been renovated by Godwin Obaseki. It was constructed, that road, Eghaghe Road, was constructed by Governor Obaseki and has been renovated once or twice by Godwin Obaseki. As of today, still go to the road. It is still not motorable. That is why it is now called Eghaghe River. Few months ago, less than 4 months ago, Godwin Obaseki-led administration renovated or reconstructed Upper Adesuwa Road in GRA, right by BIU, Word of Faith, and not BIU, Church of God Mission, by Word of Faith. Less than 120 days ago, the road was renovated. Go there today, the road is already dilapidated. Then I made mention of secondary schools are completely abandoned. I will give you a few examples. 4 or 5 days ago, I was in Queen Eden Secondary School, Ward 3, Ikpoba Oha local government. My God, is an eyesore. There's another one, Ogola College, Ward 5, Ikpoba Oha local government. The school became so dilapidated that the government itself became afraid that the building would collapse on the scholars. They had to remove the children. They had to relocate the children from Ogola College to Ogola College, which is in Ikpoba Oha local government, relocate the children to Igwodala College in Oredo. As we speak, our scholars in Ikpoba Oha around Imi quarters who attend Ogola College are now taking lectures in Igwodala in a different local government. So the chances of PDP succeeding in this election is also very slim. So Labour Party, as you know, has never governed before. And the issue that APC and PDP are trying to bring is Asian agenda, Edo agenda, blah, blah, blah agenda will not fly because Labour Party has never governed. Labour Party has never been part of the gentleman's agreement, if there were to be gentleman's agreements. As you know, Edo State has always been governed by the best in the society, and Edo people are not ready to change that at the moment. Let me take you back to 2012. Comrade Adams Aliu Oshomole, previous governor of Edo State, contested against an Edo indigene, Charles Ariabere, who was from Edo, who who was from Edo South. At the end of the day, the Edo-speaking individuals voted for Comrade Adams Aliyu Oshomole because we knew that Comrade Adams Aliyu Oshomole would be a better candidate in 2012. Then nobody shouted that it was Edo turn or Edo not turn. So we voted for Adams Oshomole because he was the best candidate at the time. Today, the best candidate for Edo State is Barrister Olumide Akpata. But since APC and PDP have completely failed in leading Edo State for the past 25 years, and they brought out two candidates that, that are not sellable, they brought out the issue of tribal politics. As you know, in politics, politicians often engage in divide and conquer. The only way PC and PDP could have a message is to keep hitting on a sound agenda. But we in Edo know better than saying that it is this guy's turn or the other guy's turn. Please, we must remember that we have a sitting president who say Emilio Con, which is it is my turn. Today, everybody is weeping and crying in Nigeria. I will open on the floor now for questions and answers. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mashido, for this all insight on your candidate and his hope of achieving and winning the election. I can see a hand up now, but quickly, before we begin to take questions, I just want you to talk briefly on this. You have mentioned very laudable projects all spread across the sectors and across the state as it may be. Then you also mentioned the debt profile of the state and taking cognizance of the fact that all of these projects are going to require huge finances. So what are the plans? How do your principal intend to achieve all of these projects and be able to cope with the debt profile of the state right now? Do you think it's feasible to actually be very active in all of these sectors, education, roads, infrastructures, and all the rest, and still be able to cope with the debt profile of the state? What are his sources of income? Clearly, if you just talk briefly on that before we begin to take questions.
Thank you so much. Please, before we start taking questions, I'm actually driving. I don't have a pen and paper, so I would love to take each question at a time so that I don't forget. Yes, Barrister Olumide Akpata can have all these things done. First, let us be very clear on one thing. Those states receives a minimum of 16 billion naira a month from the federal allocation. The internally generated revenue, we don't know how much because this state is being run in secrecy. That is not released, but we do know, based on Bush Radio, from the Bush Radio, internally generated revenue is way over another 10 billion naira. So let's assume it's 10 billion naira plus 16 billion. So we're looking at 26 billion coming into Edo State every month. And there is nothing wrong in borrowing, provided what you are borrowing the money on is going to create money in return. For instance, the current administration is borrowing to pay salaries. That is not a prudent administration. That is not what Barrister Olumide Osabovo would do. If the administration of Barrister Olumide Osabovo were to be borrowing money, for instance, if we are building a bridge between Ward 5 in Ikpobaha local government and Ward 2 in Ikpobaha local government, the bridge can be towed. In the US, people who use the road pay for the road. So you don't just borrow money to construct road and then you leave it for free. So that is, to me personally, I'm not talking about my own personal views though. This is not the view of Barrister Olumide Osabovo, but I do know in due time when we get there, an individual like me would have the opportunity to advise him on how to go around all these things, because by profession, I am a business economist. That is where former President Olusegun Obasanjo actually got it wrong. You don't remove toll gates. People who use the road pay for the road. That is why when you go to Western world, all the roads are maintained. So back to the question that you are asking, in continuous road maintenance, there are 192 primary health care, conducive environment for schooling. We are expecting or projecting a minimum of 26 billion naira coming into Edo State every month, both from federal allocation and the internally generated revenue. And we have a lot of untapped resources in Edo State, for instance, like the large gas deposit in Oriomo, so which Barrister Olumide Saboho has clearly stated that he will tap those gases to generate electricity in Edo. So generating electricity may cost money at the initial stages, but once electricity is being generated and it's 24 hours, a lot of people are going to key into this. People are going to be paying their electrical bill. So huge amount of money are going to be coming back into the government on that. Again, we can borrow money to finance a lot of these largeable projects, but we will not borrow money just to pay salaries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Borrowing money to pay salaries, those kind of statements will have to be substantiated if need be. But however, we'll take Emmanuel. I can see a hands up. Emmanuel iPhone. Emmanuel, please unmute your mic and ask your question. Emmanuel, did you hear me?
Can you hear me? Good evening.
Can you hear me? Good evening. Yes, please go ahead.
What I want to add is actually not a direct question, and I'm going to speak basically on when I started listening to Dr. Mashido Eghaghe, and though I didn't listen from the beginning, as at the point I started listening, I couldn't actually hear a commendation of all the projects that have been going on in the state. And for that, I think for you to be able to, first of all, constructively criticize a particular government, you should be able to state one or two things that the government is getting right. That alone is going to grant you a good ground on criticism, because even the worst governance, we have something that they may have done good. And that aside, from what I actually listened from Dr. Mashido's speech, it is as if criticism is very, very cheap. He is thinking that government, the business of governance is same or similar to the business of running an individual business, or is very also similar to the business of running an association, a professional association. It is very, very different. And judging from these points he has raised concerning how his candidate is going to do 192 hospitals or healthcare in the world and other road maintenances, without actually stating, because he has not been able to state clearly how he's going to source that fund. And also judging from his facts that concerning the debt and the debt profile of the state, without reflecting back to the debt profile before the administration, and without also reflecting very, very forward to the internally generated revenue before the government came into existence. And now, it therefore means that he's not grounded with what is going on in the state, and he has to go back and make certain research so that he will be very, very on ground on what is happening. Because from my research, the debt profile before the present government took over was 45 billion naira with some change on top, according to the debt management board of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And as at March this year, that same debt is now 72 billion naira, with other debt profile having been serviced for almost close to 8 years. The internally generated revenue before the present government took over from the same sources of the debt management and economic data of the country was 17 billion naira, and today the internally generated revenue is 61 billion naira, and you can see a significant increase in progress. Also, judging from the government explanation, because for you to be able to criticize and conclude that that particular government is not active or is not working, you must be able to balance the expenses and what is coming in. Judging for the current expenses of the country, especially the increase in the minimum wage and the inflation or floating of naira, you'll be able to understand that the government has actually been able to elevate the life, the standard of living in the state, having inherited a standard payment of 25,000 naira and gradually elevated that payment to 70,000 naira, in fact, the highest in the state. You shouldn't expect that your so-claimed internally generated revenue is being exposed into the thin air. It's actually doing the work, because to pay each individual an additional amount of 45,000 naira than the one you made and service a debt of 45 billion naira for over 8 years is not a joke. And we should also understand that government is in phases. Government is in phases, and these government phases is actually spread across a long period of time. For example, the Obaseki governance actually focused on human capacity building. It focused on education and did less on infrastructure. It also focused more on generating more funds for the state. So any government that is taking over, we are expecting the government to divert its attention to other aspects of governance, such as this infrastructure and expansion of markets, leveraging on the fact that we have more internally generated revenue and in the state and security in the state. So criticizing Obasanjo's government and dismissing the governorship aspiration of Asuen Ighodalo on the basis that he is a PDP man is not genuine to me, because the good governorship doesn't lie in a particular party. We have several governors in the APC and in the PDP that are performing well. Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State is in PDP, is doing well. Governor Zulum of Bondo State is doing well. Governor Alex Oti of Labour Party is doing well. We also have a governor then in Labour Party, Mimiko, that didn't do well. So leveraging on party politics, we have moved past that stage. What we are doing now is extracting the character of individual present the particular election and judging by their presidents to determine if they will be suited for the job ahead. I will advise Dr. Mashido to tell us categorically why Olumide Usagbo of Akpata Labour Party is more competent than Asuen Ighodalo, particularly on the basis of character, competence, and capacity on the personal basis. Not saying that Labour Party has no root before now. That is not a yardstick. For the fact that Labour Party has done, you already show that they are not even prepared. We cannot hand over this country, this state, to an unprepared government. Thank you.
I made your point, Engineer Emmanuel. Thank you very much. What I gathered from what you have said now is that the present-day government in Edo State have actually had some landmarks and actually had some achievements which Dr. Mashido has underplayed. And be that as it may, Dr. Mashido too should also lay emphasis on character, presentation, and capacity and competence of his principal. Dr. Mashido, will you speak to this?
Yes, thank you so very much, Emmanuel. You have actually taught me a lot. Thank you. First, the reason why I responded the way I responded, let's get something straight. Godwin Obaseki, the sitting governor, campaigned as an economist and a technocrat I am also an economist. I am a business economist. That is what I have in master's degree on. Economists don't do things anyhow. In summary, economics teaches you how to manage scarce resources. Managing scarce resources means that you focus on the basic critical infrastructure that benefits everybody. Like you have said, he has some largeable project. You didn't actually mention them. You said he focuses on human capacity building and education. I challenge you, sir, to send me few schools from your local government, secondary schools I mean this time, and I will also send you many schools from my local government to let you know that Governor Obaseki is not focusing on education. Focusing on education means that the lower tier of education, the primary and the secondary education should be, adequate attention should be focused there. Look at ECBOMA. A lot of university lecturers came out the other day, is on the news, and I can send you the video, that they've not been paid for, I don't even know how many years. So when you say somebody is focusing on education, what education are you really talking about? When secondary schools have been abandoned completely, or let me use Ikpobaha as a case study, which is my local government. Secondary schools here in Ikpobaha local government have been completely abandoned. So an administration who refused to address basic critical infrastructure is not worth giving any credence. When I talk about basic critical infrastructure, what am I talking about? Do we have roads in Edo? Obviously not. I live in Benin City. We don't have roads. Just less than 2 hours of rain that fell, I am locked in a Greek lock in Saple Road because there are no adjoining roads. No roads. All the local roads have been completely abandoned. Do we have roads? No. Do we have functioning traffic lights? Maybe we have 20%. Have you been to Ring Road lately? I advise you to go to Ring Road. Anywhere from 7 p.m., you will see the chaos there. Have you been to Ted Junction? There are no traffics there. So the healthcare. So you are talking about largeable infrastructure for a governor that destroyed Central Hospital and is replacing it with a museum. Am I supposed to be clapping for that? A governor that destroyed library and it put ShopRite there. Go to ShopRite today. It's like a ghost town. Our people can barely buy things in a kiosk. Then you want them to go to ShopRite? Nobody is in ShopRite. The place is empty. So if you are saying this man actually have some laudable projects, you should be able to mention them, because most of these projects are not owned by the states. Most of these projects are owned by private entities. Like Oshomo Power Plant is not owned by the states. It's a privately owned investment. ShopRite I just mentioned is not owned by the state. It's a privately owned investment. So you should be able to articulate what this man has actually got right. Then I would be able to give you a counter-attack if this is actually addressing the needs of the common citizens of Edo State as we speak. Are you going to talk about the Ogbe Stadium that he renovated? Comrade Adams Ali Oshomole also spent billions of naira in that particular stadium. Governor Obaseki went there, did another renovation. Now ask me, what is the economic value of Ogbe Stadium? So why am I mentioning all these projects? Because Godwin Obaseki pride itself as an economist. Economists would not construct substandard roads. The roads constructed by Samuel Ogbemudia, some of them are still functioning in dates, which is more than 30, 40 years later. I drove on one of them in Ward 2 in Bobai. Few days ago, I asked, I said, when they construct this road, they say now Ogbemudia construct this one. On the other hand, an individual, Godwin Obaseki, who pride himself as an economist, go to Eghaghe Road. I made an example. I was very specific in my criticism of Godwin Obaseki. Eghaghe Road or Eghaghe River Isi Ward 9, Ipoba Oha local government. Go there. It was constructed by Godwin Obaseki within the last 4 years. And within the same last 4 years, the road has been renovated twice or reconstructed twice. As of today, there is a river there. It is not motorable. Go to St. Maria Goretti Road. It was just done less than 90 days ago. St. Maria Goretti and Upper Sapmumba Road, Dumes Road, by Upper Sapmumba Road, go there now as the rain just fell. The road was just reconstructed. There is still a gully there. Go to Amadi Road that was just reconstructed less than 120 days ago. There is still a gully there. The problem was only shipped from one location to the other. I am being specific. I am giving you specific location. I will appreciate if you can clearly articulate these laudable projects that you said Godwin Obaseki has invested the state money on. As you said, that the internally generated revenue has increased exponentially to over 60-something billion a month. Is there really something to show for it? When you say Governor Obaseki has built on capital, human capacity, is it showing? I transact business with a lot of Edo State own corporation like Edo GIS or whatever you want to call them. They still take bribes. Go there, just go to Edo GIS and fill an application without having somebody to assist you. Your file will sit there for over 9 months. You will not get your CFO. But when you have somebody assisting you, you give them money. Within 3 months, you get your stuff. So what are we talking about? I live in Edo State. I am talking from the practical, from the reality on ground, not what we see on the not what we see online. Thank you very much. Please, if I may add, how you said I should speak more about how Barrister Olumide on his competence and capacity and all that. Barrister Olumide Osaigbovo is ready to lead Edo State. Like I said before, an individual who has led the Nigeria Bar Association, met the Treasury with 0 naira and left there with 1.5 billion naira. As you know, Governor Obaseki, that you are singing praises to, also came from a private sector. So nobody actually inherits how to govern. It's when you have the empathy, when you have the people's empathy, when you have the people at mind, that is when you actually go there and do the right thing. For instance, in Nigeria today, common sense will tell me before I remove fuel subsidy, there are things I should put in place. What are those things? Make sure the refineries are working. 1, give maybe approve, give a lot of approval to a lot of oil marketers so anybody can go to abroad and import their fuel just the same way we are importing vehicles into the country. So there are a lot of things that could have been done before the fuel subsidies was removed. So Barrister Olumide is ready from day one to lead Edo State because he is an empathetic individual. He has already shown the capacity leading the MBA. He's a successful individual coming from a private world. Somebody that is leading over 100 lawyers in his law firm. So I don't think there's anybody more prepared than Barrister Olumide Osaigbovo. On the other hand, let's talk about Dr. Aswell Igodalo, who has been the chief economic advisor to Godwin Obaseki for the past 8 years. And he also worked with former governor of Edo State, Comrade Aliyu Adams Oshumole. So what is it exactly that he didn't advise Godwin Obaseki on that he felt he cannot do by himself? So I don't think Aswell Igodalo could be any better than than what we already have with Godwin Obaseki. As you know, Godwin Obaseki is destroying people's houses. I believe Dr. Oligodalo will even do worse. Godwin Obaseki, as you know, speak the language. He went to secondary school. Yeah, we don't even know where Dr. Aswe Igodalo went to secondary school. Maybe he went to secondary school in Lagos. Godwin Obaseki can't speak the language. Dr. Oligodalo cannot speak the language. He speaks to his own kinsmen through a translator. So he has no connection. He does not understand what is going on in Edo State. On the other hand, Barrister Olumide Sabovo's Akpata has shown capacity when he went to Ewato in Edo Central, where he watched on YouTube. Children were taking notes on the floor. He has renovated the school as we speak. Today, the school has desks and chairs renovated, and they now use water system. They do no longer go to toilet. What is it called? Not toilet, latrine. I think that is a local name that this thing is called, latrine. So he has shown capacity and he has shown empathy, and he is the right man to lead Edo State. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor. We have three hands. We'll take it in this order. We'll take Dr. Masha, we'll take Manuel, then we'll take Zoe. Dr. Masha, please unmute and ask your question. Dr. Masha, we can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Dr. Mashido. You can hear me.
You are breaking a little
I am.
Am I heard?
Good evening, Dr. Marshall.
Am
How
I
are you
heard?
today? Yes, sir.
Oh, thank God. Okay. Now, it's been a while though, and all this, talk about economy and statistics. Yes, I'm not an economist, neither am I an accountant, but common sense will actually show us that most of the things you say there, practically, you are right. Not because we share something in common, but because it's practical and everybody can see. So far, I'd like to dwell on a little bit of the past before I come to the question directly to you. Edo State economy is currently sick as a result of their increasing debt profile caused by immodest administration of Dr. Godwin Obaseki. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Okay. Fine. Since assuming office in 2016 as governor of the state, over the period, the domestic debt has increased from 46.091 billion in December 31st, 2026, when Obaseki took power from Comrade Adams Oshomole, to 123.879 billion in December 31st of 2023. In the same manner, Edo State external debt leaped from 184.641 million in December 26 to this now is in dollars to 331.448 in December 2023. This signifies an increase of 788 billion in domestic debt and 130.841 million in debt stocks. These figures were released by the Debt Management Office, not me. So, at the current prevailing exchange rate, which I would say maybe like a week ago, Edo State external debt amounts to 445 billion 930 million dollars and naira. So, in summary, the total debt profile of Edo State and external is a total of 569,430,000,000. This is well over half a trillion naira. This figure places the state in the third position, coming behind Lagos and Kaduna State, who are occupying the first and second position. Now, back to you. I know Mr. Olumide or Barrister Olumide is a legal luminary, is a lawyer, not an economist, neither is he an accountant. Obviously, a man in his profession, he's going to get professionals to do his biddings for him. Now, my question is, how soon, judging by the debt incurred by this administration of Obaseki now, if we are going by the way of how to resolve this issue, and by looking at the extent of how the economic situation has been dwindling like a wildfire, where farms are not accessible, security is very bad, people are complaining about food hike of things, prices, and by the day, it's not even by the week, by the day, everything is changing. How is he going to cast a spell to stop this kind of debt profile to increase? Because it will be expected that it will decrease. Now, logic tells me that I want to believe he has an idea of what to do first, which I cannot really tell you because you are the one answering. Now, it will be very, very right for him to be more strategic. What are his plans to actually reduce this debt incurred? By the grace of God, if he wins, because we keep praying for a new thing to happen, because I don't want to believe in the rhetoric of change, because change can come in phases. Change can come terribly. Change can come sympathetically. Change can also come nicely. Now, that depends on the kind of change we are really looking at here. Okay, yes. For me, I don't want to be partisan or, share blame to any of the parties because I want to be an independent questionnaire now. How is he going to reduce that amount and actually increase his GR in the state by actually dealing with issues like unnecessary taxation, unnecessary union collectors? Because in this state, I've come to realize the Agbero too collects tax from every bus driver, keke rider, including even the ordinary man that sells tiger nuts on the street. The question I ask is, what do they do with the monies? Now, if we are looking at good governance, there has to be serious transparency and accountability. What are the prospects of all this that I've asked to come to play from Olumide Akpata? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Masho. I appreciate your question. I'm going to defer these questions to Barrister Olumide Akpata himself, and I will reply to the platform when I might have gotten an answer for him. It's not everything that I can speak on his behalf. This issue, I'm not going to come here to say I know this, I know that. This issue of how to reduce, I wrote it down already on my second phone, how to reduce a Edo state debt profile and every other thing that you have mentioned. I will defer the question to him, and I will surely get back in test. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor. That's the question to Dr. Mashido. Dr. Masha has a question in due course. So, Engineer Ma, please unmute and ask your question or your contribution, but please make it quick.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, it's actually a contribution. I want to respond to Comrade Mashido because he directly asked me a question to elaborate the infrastructures or the things that Governor Obaseki has achieved that made me say that there are some laudable projects, especially in the issues of human capacity and education. We'll start from the education aspect. The rhetoric here is that most of us, we just believe that everything that is in good governance should be in the terms of infrastructure. So that is how we think as Nigerians. And that is why most governors, they go as far as borrowing unexplainable debt just to do flyovers and construct anything that we can see and we'll be clapping. It's when the governor will not leave that will discover that those things are not economically viable projects and they were not actually of any economic benefit to the state. Now, judging, when I said that Governor Obaseki has done so well in terms of education, before now, there were no teachers in our schools, not enough teachers. These things we can actually reflect and ask any teacher in both the primary school and secondary school. By Governor Obaseki's Edo Best Project, I have friends that were beneficiaries of this teaching scheme. They enrolled them as teachers, and as we are speaking now, every secondary school across the state have substantial teachers who are taking those students various courses as against before he entered. Also, talking about monitoring, one thing is to send workers on errand. Another thing is to be sure that they are doing that errand effectively. There is this teacher monitoring scheme that Governor Obaseki actually set up, that a roll call system that is still active till now. Any teacher in the house can confirm that. And also a kind of a tablet that was given to teachers where he can assess their presence in the classroom from his own situation room or from the situation room of the education minister. That has actually imbibed a kind of a working educational system in the state. So that is for the education. And some schools that are in my own local government where I'm from, several schools, Eastern North, several schools whose roof were torn, whose roofs were torn and whose window were no longer working, has been replaced and are functional. In fact, in my local government, there is no school that we are going to say that is dilapidated and that was not given an attention. Then considering that is on the educational section, then what I mean human capacity development, you may have resources everywhere. If there are no human beings, well-trained individuals that are going to use those resources to manufacture some things or to control those resources, it is as good as having nothing. The Edo State Civil Service has undergone several training from consultants on ethics, professional ethics, and work styles. Also, those trainings have actually metamorphosed the civil service society from a paper and file management system to a digital system. And that digital system has actually made everything very, very swift and reduced corruption drastically. You spoke of Edo GIS. By my profession, I'm a civil engineer. I entered the Edo GIS as if it's my bedroom. You claim that in Edo GIS there is no transparency. If we have estate agency here, maybe we have surveyors here, and maybe we have engineers, then we are going to counter you on that because that is not correct. In Edo GIS today, this process is as transparent as possible, and in highest of 3 months, whatever application you have submitted, in as much as every of your document is correct, whether you pay or not, you get your C of O. If you follow the right process, you submit your tax clearance on time, your survey are correct, your landed property is okay, there is no bureaucracy in it. And that alone has saved many persons from this issue of land grabbing. A situation where you buy a land, at the end of the day, it's quite that land belongs to another day, because there is a verification system which is as low as 15,000 naira. You will be able to source the genuinity of a particular land and also know whether to pay for the land or not. If the land is not genuine, you will leave it. If the land is genuine, you pay. That is for that. Then on the issue of infrastructure, You said I should mention infrastructure. I traveled from Benin across Sobe. That was my first time following that road to Akoko Edo yesterday. The road that I followed is well tied and is very, very functional. So also there was a time which is also my first time, that I followed through Eghaghe. You follow through Eghaghe and you bust out in Agbo. I forgot what they call the road. The road is also very, very accessible. That is another diversion from the airport, the popular Ekpoma road, back to Benin. Those roads are not, they are more than 30-kilometer roads. They are not short distance roads. Those roads I'm talking about, they are, I think the one of Sobe is around 19 kilometers that is done. That is a diversion that he has created to reduce the pressure in the Ekpoma Auchi Road, which is supposed to be a federal road. Also categorizing on the issues of you said he removed the Central Hospital and he built the Moab, the West African Museum and stuff. We are very, very good in criticizing, but without looking at the rationale behind any actions. Before now, the Central Hospital, as at 5 years ago, the Central Hospital occupying that same position that Obaseki actually demolished, was not actually functional again. If you want to be truthful, it was no longer functional, because I normally pass through there every time, and it was actually the functionality of that particular hospital was shifted to the Edo hospital close to it. So using that place to actually construct a kind of tourist center that is going to bring more revenue to the state should not meet criticism, as you are saying, because he has no vision. You talk about the mall. Most of the popular states in the south, in the southern part of Nigeria, has a mall, and conversion of a paper library to a digital library, I think that is progress. It's not supposed to be made. You as an economist, not supposed to be criticizing that, because in that same mall there is a digital library there. In that particular library, if you want to be sincere, you will know that library have gone obsolete. That was library as at 2013. When I went to that library as in an attempt to read and read, and so that I approve my jam. Then my posted me after my national diploma. Then I was not able to accessibly use the library because there was no undated books in that place. There was no personnel attending to you, and this library, the style of paper book library is already gradually going obsolete, because whatever we do now, we research online, and there are all these books are in PDF version. Digital library is a thing to go. In the US, you can actually attest to that there are digital libraries. So if he had removed the library in entirety, you would have seen that he have removed the library. And not that. But he replaced the library and he brought a mall. And that mall has served as an employment. In that place, we have several shops that people are using to sell. And we have customers. You talk about issue of demolition of houses, as if this is the first time. What you are expecting to be doing as an economist in that particular thing is to advise people to verify, to use the issue of GIS to verify properties before they buy. If a government acquires now, it's within their right to acquire land, and that land was acquired in 2017. That particular line that Ohoromi you are talking about, I've done several projects in that ASICS. What the community did was that they removed the signboard of the government where they put it there to showcase that they have acquired that land, and they were selling that land to persons. When the government now came to claim that land, people are now shouting that we are supposed to hold those community because they are the one that actually receive to buy the land. So that is that. If we actually criticize the government, we should be doing so in all honesty. We talk about the issue of erosion. I'm a civil engineer by profession and environmental engineer by extension. Issue of erosion is a global issue. Erosion has been in Benin even before Oshomole come on board. What we call stale erosion, and what we call dissipated erosion. In Benin, erosion we are having in Benin currently is dissipated erosion, because there is no erosion in Benin particularly that don't have a flow point. It's just that immediately when the rain falls, maybe 30 to 1 hour, the erosion will be trying to find a way to dissipate. And it's as a result of poor state planning, of which the issue of Edo GIS and having a master plan. If you pass through Edo, something like it is written there, Edo new master plan. Those things that have already been captured for Edo City to be the plan. All the mode that will be built on will be, all the properties there will be redistributed, and we'll have a proper flow of water across the state. I swear Ighodalo in person is not Obaseki. I'm just responding to you because you decided to bring party issue. I swear Ighodalo, in his advent of becoming the chairman of the Nigerian Breweries, that was 2023, between 2022 and 2024, he made a Nigerian brewery running a deficit account. In fact, since the advent of Kayode, who was the chairman before the Aswe Ighodalo come aboard, Nigerian brewery was already running at a loss of about 106 billion naira between 2008 to the time that Aswe Ighodalo took over. In spite of the dollar-naira flotation, when Aswe Ighodalo, which is 2023, is the hardest economic year ever experienced in Nigeria, and that was the year Aswe Ighodalo took over the Nigeria Brewery. He was still able to move the internal revenue, or let me say the revenue of the Nigerian Brewery from 250 billion to 299 billion. This record is as captured by the Nigerian Brewery financial record for 2023-2024, which signified a significant 9% increase in revenue, and the sales and everything for that 1 year that he supervised Nigerian Brewery was intact. As chairman of the Sterling Bank, he was able to actually establish Sterling Bank in the various states. So the personality of Aswe Ighodalo and the capacity of Aswe Ighodalo cannot be compared to that of Akpata, who has only led NBA, which is a professional association. I belong to a professional association called Nigeria. We only pay dues and all that. We don't actually conduct non-labor projects. So there is no way, even in our association, there is nothing like debt. We don't borrow debt. So there is no project of finance. What we do is conferences, workshop, and that happens in one place. So say that left 1.5 billion naira. There was no way should have left a debt there. $1 billion left in the international body, and as a result of how many persons that registered it in the association in my association, we pay dues, we register. So if we have more persons that register within the association, we are going to experience a hike in our revenue. No loss. Check all the professional bodies. Check if there's anyone not compare somebody that have run corporate entity to somebody that have run a professional body.
And actually addressed the issues that Dr. Mashido threw at you, but you have gone extra mile doing that. Thank you very much for that contribution. And we'll take question from Zumi to Dr. Mashido as we are rounding up the program for tonight. Zumi, please unmute and ask your question.
Well, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Good evening.
Good evening. It's quite an interesting moment. I'm Barrister Fosa Eghaghe from Berlin. There are things that baffled me immensely. Are those things like that you don't play politics with. When it comes to a time like this, like the second speaker rightly said, I think one doctor, when he said prices are skyrocketing, debt are going higher, the state debt, and things are becoming alarming and unbearable for our people. So that is something that is affecting the general interest. You don't play politics with that. You don't play politics with things like that. Instead, we all collectively will look at what is best for us. And at that point, I quite understand Dr. Mashido Eghaghe when he said, it's not about politics. I've been listening to everyone. It's about what is best for our common collective interest. What we know, even the last speaker, he said about the roads. I don't know when those roads were constructed, if it was during Oshumole's time, or perhaps this current dispensation. You don't know the Sobe road and all that. I don't know when those roads were constructed. It's okay, it's there. These are infrastructural development. We need them. But what is still not clear to us is that we are not experiencing transparency. A transparent government will tell you how much the state revenue is monthly. Then it will tell us the state possible expenditure, what we're going to spend, and what we're spending them on, and if we are borrowing, they will still let the people know, because they are not governing themselves. They are governing the people. They are people's business. Puts them there. They are operating people's business. So they should inform the people on how they operate. That's transparency. That's transparency. But that we don't know. Only a few people that have this idea I'm saying now, majority of them are in the city. And there are those ones in the city now. We have a vast number of them in our villages, in rural area, that don't even know what I'm talking about now. They don't even know if government exists or not. In the morning, they wake up, they go to their farm, maybe they have a day or two rest day, and they go to their local village market and they buy. So that is just their lifestyle. They don't know if government exists, and the government doesn't even care about them. So we need somebody that have that moral concern for the generality of Edo people. So what we know so far is that Edo State gets 60 billion naira monthly. We are not talking of yearly, allocation now. And beside that, as oil producing state, they have a backup again. These are reasonable billions. If you go now, you will realize that about 500 and something billion naira was shared in the period of last year between the oil producing areas. So how many oil producing states are we talking about now? 9 states. So 9 states divide 545 billion. You can imagine, based on there's a rate they calculate. I know for sure data always getting the highest, but Edo State is somewhere at the middle. There is no way Edo State would not have gotten up to 40 billion from there as well. And on top of all this one, they will still carry loan. And that loan, it is the state consign, they use it. So which means you and I are responsible for the payment of that loan. So these are all giant resources, giant revenue. But what we are getting on ground, what is baffling us is we are seeing scanty projects, not that cannot be equated with the amount that support they got. That is the consign. So we need somebody. That will be able to manage.
I think we have lost the last speaker who was making his contributions. Why just before he come on back? We totally agree with your thoughts. We in COPDEM totally agree with your thoughts. That's why we are continuously having this conversation to determine who and what is best for Edo State, considering all the money that is available. As in compared Go ahead.
So don't just jump in like that. So these are facts, my brother. These are facts, and what I've just said, you can get this fact, if you really want to get them, you know. So that is the point. The giant resources that come to that state monthly is not equivalent to the project they are showing us. That is the point. You cannot take an elephant resources, yeah, and showing us a rabbit project. There's a huge gap there, you know. So that is the concern for every elite to rethink and say, no, there mustn't be a continuation. We should have a change of hand. You know, so that is just the point that actually drew my attention to that. And that change of hand, if we don't try a new hand, we will know how far we go. And that is why we're looking at Barrister Olumide Sabovo Akpata. Let it come in. Let it come in. Otherwise, we'll be doing the same thing over and over again and be expecting changes. It can't happen. You will have to change the music so that the dancing system will change. That's just what the Edo State needs. My brother, a whole lot of people, as we speak now, cannot even feed themselves. You know, so you do, and we are talking, and these people that are, you see them, you know, there are many of them in government, before they come in there, they were not as robust as the way they are now. You know, but come and see people that are the politicians that are abroad. You know, politicians that are abroad, when they get to office, they become tiny. They'll be so tiny in a way that you will know that these people, they are working. But your politicians, when they get to office, they will get robust. You understand? So there's a different template, which we should begin to understand how the music is played. You understand? So that the person in charge of the music will be able to direct them and say, no, you change the music. Because power belongs to the people. It's better the people, they use their power this time, which is their PVC, and bring a new hand on board so that we begin to experience new things. That's just my contribution. Thank you.
I actually interjected because we were no longer hearing the whole place was mute. Okay, but again, I was just saying that is also our thought in COPDEM to get governance, good, not just governance, but good governance to the people for us to begin to see the benefits of democracy.
That's it. That's it.
The income rules to the state by way of allocation or by way of internally generated revenue or by way of investment. But we need to see it reflect in the economy. We need to see it reflect on the people. That is our concern in COPDEM, and that is why we have been discussing this, discussing the elections and every other thing that concerns the average Nigerian. We represent them. So I'll allow Prince Shola now to ask his question. Prince Shola, please unmute and ask a question.
Thank you very much, sir. My regards to everyone in the meeting. It's just an issue that regards that requires clarifications. I would just like our guests to clarify. We've been hearing that the agent list of the Labour Party gubernatorial candidate, was trashed by INEC due to the issue Barrister Abure has with INEC. So I just need clarification in this area. Has it been resolved, or what's the update in respect of that? Because it's critical. Thank you.
Thank you. I am hearing this for the first time, sir. But the Labour Party does not have issue with agent list. I think about 400 and something names. Their pictures were not very visible. Those names were rejected. I think their pictures were rejected. I'm not sure about the number. It's 400 and change. I think it's 421 or something like that. But we are on point, and the INEC accepted our agent list. The code was directly given to Barrister Olumide Sabovo Akpata to upload his agent list, since INEC do no longer have confidence in in the leadership of Barrister Aburi. As of today, as far as I know, Labour Party agents list we are accepted by INEC. There's no issue at all. Thank you.
That clarification. We're running up this program. We'll call it a day. But just before we go, sir, we can't have this program without talking about the controversies in the party in the states. What are your views, sir? Do you think this will have any kind of impact on the chances of Barrister Olumide Akpata at the polls?
Yes, definitely. Instead of having 250,000 votes, it might be reduced to 240,000 votes, but we will definitely win the election because the population of registered party members compared to the population of the general electorate, I don't think it's up to 2%. It would definitely have a significant issue because divided house. So we are operating a divided house, and the RTV-led fraction is very active in some local governments, especially like Eghaghe. But we are up against APC and PDP, who are not. Both of them are not doing well themselves. APC is heavily fractured. PDP is even more fractured than APC. So when you look at the crisis in both APC and PDP compared to the crisis in Labour Party, you will be singing, "Oh, thank God, say the when they my family no was fish this other one when this other one when they the other family." I think that's the best way I would explain it. But I am very, 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 very confident, 100% that Labour Party would come out victorious because we are the only one campaigning in this election. For instance, in Bubaha local government, we are mounting door-to-door, street-to-street campaign. On the other hand, both APC and PDP are doing word-to-word campaign. So we are going directly to the electorate, educating them and telling them what is at stake and the reason why they should change. From APC and PDP. As the Benin adage do say, where as a Lodokba, Agmomana Mawa Afigbe Lodowi. In translation, if you are taking one route to a specific location and there is a blockade, you can make a U-turn or divert and take another route. So the people of Edo State are ready to take another route, and this other route, Labour Party has the best candidates, Barrister Olumide Akpata, who is sympathetic and ready to serve. And the manifesto is well positioned to address all the basic needs and set the state to a prosperous future. Thank you.
Now that you mentioned the APC and the PDP, what are your thoughts on the fears that we might have the federal might interacting or intercepting the elections? What are your thoughts on that, and what are the preparations by your party to check such intervention if it comes from the federal might to want to influence the election?
That is part of our security meetings, which I wouldn't want to dislodge. But one thing I can tell you is that the federal might would not be more than the people's might. So we are very much aware of what happened to President, I still call him President Peter Obi. His mandate was stolen in 2023. So we are very much aware of the federal might, and we have put on several mechanisms to make sure we put everything in check, learning from what happened in 2023. So we are working to block all loopholes, even from our fractured party. We do know that there are some individuals who will sell out at the last minute. So we are blocking all loopholes and putting all mechanisms in place. That is as much I can tell you. Thank you.
Dr. Mashido Eghaghe, it has been a pleasure having you on the show tonight. We appreciate your time. We thank you for being our guest. As we conclude this program today, we wish you and your candidate the best at the poll on the 21st of September, which is just 2 weeks away. So thank you for being our guest, Dr. Mashido. It's good to see you again. And have a good night.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure. Enjoy your night, guys.
Good night, everyone.